You've been told to think differently, to reframe your thoughts, to stay positive, to fix your mindset. But what if the problem isn't your thinking at all? What if your nervous system is stuck in survival mode and no amount of motivation can override biology? Today, we're talking about why movement, not mindset, is the fastest way to rewire your nervous system and take your power back. Number one, your body learns safety before your mind does. That's not a metaphor, and it's not motivational language. It's how your nervous system actually works. Long before you can explain what you're feeling, your body has already decided whether the environment is safe or threatening. Your heart rate changes. Your breathing shortens or deepens. Your muscles tighten or release. All of this happens before a single conscious thought enters the picture. The mind likes to believe it's in charge, but biologically it's responding to information that the body has already processed. When something feels off, you don't think your way into tension. Your shoulders rise, your jaw tightens, your stomach contracts. That reaction is automatic. It's learned through experience, repetition, and exposure, not logic. That's why telling yourself to calm down often makes things worse. The body doesn't understand reassurance in words. It understands patterns. It understands rhythm, pressure, breath, posture, and movement. If those signals suggest danger, the nervous system stays activated no matter how reasonable your thoughts are. Safety, then, is not an idea. It's a physical state. A regulated nervous system is one that has learned, over time, that it doesn't need to stay alert to survive. This learning happens through lived, embodied experiences. When your body moves through space without threat, when your muscles work and recover, when your breath slows naturally instead of being forced, the nervous system begins to update its expectations. It starts to recognize that the present moment is not the same as past danger. That recognition doesn't come from insight, it comes from repetition. This is why people can intellectually understand that they are safe and still feel anxious, frozen, or overwhelmed. The mind has caught up, but the body hasn't. The nervous system is still operating from old data shaped by stress, trauma, or prolonged pressure. It doesn't trust explanations. It trusts evidence. Every time you move in a way that feels controlled and intentional, you provide that evidence. Every time your body completes an action and nothing bad happens, the system recalibrates slightly. Over time, these small physical confirmations accumulate. The body begins to release vigilance not because it was told to, but because it no longer needs it. Muscles stop bracing unnecessarily. Breathing becomes fuller without conscious effort. The internal sense of urgency fades. Only then does the mind begin to experience clarity, focus, and emotional stability, not as something it has to work for, but as a natural consequence of the body learning that it is safe enough to exist without constant defense. Number two, movement regulates stress faster than positive thinking because stress is not a thought problem, it's a physiological state. When your nervous system is activated, your body is preparing for action, not reflection. Your heart rate increases, cortisol rises, muscles tense, and your breath becomes shallow. In that moment, asking yourself to think positively is like trying to negotiate with a fire alarm while it's blaring. The system is doing exactly what it was designed to do, and it doesn't wait for cognitive permission. Stress begins in the body, so it resolves most efficiently through the body. Positive thinking operates at the level of interpretation, but stress lives at the level of sensation. You can tell yourself everything is fine while your shoulders remain clenched and your jaw stays tight. That mismatch creates friction, not relief. The nervous system reads physical cues more quickly than mental ones. Movement sends immediate, unambiguous signals that the body can process without analysis. Walking, lifting, stretching, or even shaking out tension changes circulation, breathing patterns, and muscle engagement within seconds. These changes directly influence the vagus nerve and shift the system out of threat mode. Movement also completes the stress response instead of suppressing it. Stress is designed to mobilize energy for action. When that energy has nowhere to go, it turns inward and becomes anxiety, irritability, or exhaustion. Thinking positively often asks the body to ignore that energy, which keeps it trapped. Movement gives it a direction. When you move, your nervous system interprets that as resolution. The loop closes. The body registers that the action phase has ended and recovery can begin. There's also a rhythm to movement that thinking can't replicate. Repetitive motion creates predictability, and predictability is calming to the nervous system. Each step, each repetition, each breath tied to motion reinforces a sense of order. This is why walking can calm racing thoughts and why physical effort often brings mental clarity afterward. The calm doesn't come from convincing yourself that everything is okay. It comes from the body experiencing a pattern that signals stability and control. Over time, movement becomes a form of communication with your nervous system. It teaches your body that stress doesn't require panic, only response. The more consistently you move through stress instead of thinking around it, the faster your system learns to downshift. The body stops overreacting because it has learned through direct experience that activation will be followed by release, effort will be followed by recovery, and intensity will not last forever. Number 3, stillness can trap trauma. Motion helps release it because trauma is not stored as a memory alone. It is stored as a physical pattern. When the body experiences overwhelming stress and cannot complete a natural response like running, defending, or escaping, that unfinished action remains in the nervous system. Muscles hold tension, breath stays shallow, posture collapses or becomes rigid, and the body remains subtly prepared for a threat that no longer exists. In this state, prolonged stillness can reinforce the original freeze response, keeping the nervous system locked in protection rather than resolution. For many people, stillness feels like safety on the surface, but internally, it can amplify distress. Sitting quietly with unresolved activation often brings racing thoughts, discomfort, or a sense of pressure in the chest or stomach. The body is asking to move, but the mind interprets that urge as something to suppress. This suppression doesn't create calm, it creates containment. Trauma becomes something that is managed instead of processed. Without motion, the nervous system has no opportunity to complete the cycle it was forced to interrupt in the past. Motion introduces choice where there was once helplessness. Even small, controlled movements send a powerful signal to the nervous system that the body is no longer trapped. Walking, stretching, swaying, or engaging muscles against resistance restores a sense of agency. These movements don't need to be intense or dramatic to be effective. What matters is that the body is allowed to move in a way that feels intentional and self-directed. That permission alone begins to loosen the grip of stored tension. Movement also changes how the body experiences sensation. Trauma often narrows awareness, pulling attention inward toward discomfort or hypervigilance. Motion expands awareness outward, reconnecting the body to space, rhythm, and gravity. As muscles contract and release, breath deepens naturally, and circulation increases. These physiological shifts tell the nervous system that it can safely transition out of defense. The body starts to recognize that activation does not mean danger, and sensation does not mean threat. Over time, repeated motion helps reorganize the nervous system's expectations. Each movement completed without harm rewrites the story the body has been telling itself. The muscles learn that they no longer need to stay braced. The breath learns it can slow without risk. The body gradually releases the need to hold itself together through rigidity or collapse. Trauma loses its grip not because it is confronted intellectually, but because the body is given the opportunity to finish what it was once forced to stop. Number 4, consistency in small movements rewires survival responses because the nervous system does not change through intensity alone. It changes through repetition. Survival patterns are built over time, reinforced by thousands of small moments where the body learned what to expect from the world. A single burst of effort can momentarily shift how you feel, but it does not teach the nervous system what it needs to know long term. What rewires those deep responses is predictability. And predictability is created through consistent, manageable movement that the body can trust. Small movements are powerful precisely because they do not overwhelm the system. When the nervous system has learned to stay on high alert, anything extreme can be interpreted as another threat. Gentle, repeatable actions signal safety without triggering resistance. A daily walk, light stretching, controlled strength work, or rhythmic breathing paired with motion creates a baseline of regulation. Each time the body moves and returns to rest without negative consequence, the nervous system updates its internal map of safety. Survival responses like fight, flight, or freeze are not conscious choices. They are automatic programs designed to protect you. These programs don't shut off because you understand them. They shut off when the body experiences enough evidence that protection is no longer necessary. Consistent movement provides that evidence in a way thinking cannot. It shows the body, again and again, that activation can be followed by calm. Effort can be followed by recovery, and movement does not lead to harm. Over time, these small confirmations accumulate. the nervous system begins to anticipate regulation instead of danger. Muscles stop bracing preemptively. Breathing becomes more fluid. Heart rate stabilizes more quickly after stress. What once required conscious effort starts to happen automatically because the system has learned a new default. This is not willpower. It is conditioning at a biological level. Consistency also builds trust between you and your body. When movement is small and reliable, the body learns it will not be pushed beyond its limits. That trust reduces internal resistance and makes regulation more sustainable. Instead of forcing calm, you allow it to emerge through familiar patterns. The nervous system doesn't need perfection or intensity to change. It needs repetition that feels safe enough to maintain day after day, until survival responses are no longer necessary as a constant state of being. Number 5. Strength, breath, and posture reshape emotional resilience because emotions are not separate from the body that carries them. Emotional responses are shaped by how supported, stable, and capable the body feels in any given moment. When the body is weak, collapsed, or deprived of breath, the nervous system interprets that as vulnerability. That interpretation influences emotional reactions long before conscious awareness appears. Building resilience, then, is not only about coping strategies or self-talk, but about creating a physical state that can tolerate pressure without immediately signaling threat. Strength training teaches the nervous system that effort is survivable. When muscles are gradually exposed to load and recover successfully, the body learns that stress does not automatically equal danger. This lesson transfers beyond the gym. Emotional challenges begin to feel more manageable because the body has repeated experience with controlled strain followed by recovery. Strength creates a sense of internal support. The body feels less fragile, and that perception alone reduces emotional reactivity. A nervous system that feels physically capable is less likely to escalate under psychological pressure. Breath is the most direct bridge between the body and the nervous system. Shallow, restricted breathing keeps the system in a state of readiness, reinforcing anxiety and tension. Slow, deep breathing, especially when integrated with movement, signals safety at a biological level. It reduces sympathetic activation and supports parasympathetic regulation. Over time, learning to breathe fully under mild stress teaches the nervous system that intensity does not require panic. Emotional waves pass more quickly because the body no longer treats them as emergencies. Posture quietly shapes how emotions are processed. A collapsed posture compresses the chest and limits breath, reinforcing feelings of helplessness or defeat. An upright, grounded posture allows the lungs to expand and the spine to support the body's weight efficiently. This physical alignment sends a signal of readiness and stability. The nervous system responds by reducing defensive tension. Emotions are experienced with more space and less urgency because the body is no longer bracing against itself. Together, strength, breath, and posture create a feedback loop that builds emotional resilience from the inside out. The body learns that it can handle load, regulate arousal, and support itself structurally. Emotional resilience emerges not as forced toughness, but as a natural result of a nervous system that feels supported, oxygenated, and capable of staying present under pressure. Number 6. You don't think your way out of anxiety. You move your way out because anxiety is not created by flawed reasoning. It is created by a nervous system that believes it needs to stay alert. The mind becomes busy after the body is already activated, trying to make sense of the sensations it's experiencing. Racing thoughts, catastrophic scenarios, and constant analysis are not the cause of anxiety. They are the byproduct. When you try to solve anxiety by thinking, you end up feeding the very loop that keeps it alive. An anxious nervous system is primed for action. Heart rate increases, breathing becomes shallow, muscles tighten, and attention narrows. These changes are designed to prepare the body to respond to danger. When there is no physical outlet for this activation, the energy turns inward. The body stays mobilized with nowhere to go, and the mind fills the gap with worry. Positive thinking or rational reassurance rarely helps because the body is still waiting for movement to complete the stress response. Movement gives the nervous system what it's asking for. It translates internal alarm into external action. Walking, lifting, stretching, or even simple repetitive motion allows the body to discharge excess energy and shift out of hypervigilance. As muscles engage and release, circulation improves and breath deepens without force. These changes send immediate feedback to the nervous system that action has occurred and survival does not require continued alertness. Thinking requires time and interpretation. Movement works in real time. The nervous system responds to physical signals faster than it responds to ideas. When you move, You create proof rather than reassurance. The body experiences itself doing something and returning to baseline. That experience carries more weight than any mental argument because it is registered at the level where anxiety originates. Over repeated exposure, movement retrains the nervous system's expectations. The body learns that activation will be followed by resolution. It learns that sensation does not mean catastrophe, and that increased heart rate does not require panic. Anxiety loses its intensity, not because it has been defeated intellectually, but because the body no longer treats its signals as emergencies. Movement replaces rumination with regulation, action replaces overanalysis, and the nervous system gradually releases the need to stay on high alert. You don't need to overpower your mind or fix your thoughts to feel better. You need to show your nervous system through movement that the danger has passed. Each step, each breath, each controlled effort teaches your body a new response. Regulation begins the moment you move.